And I'm so happy that all of you are here today. My name is Sheryl Hickerson. I am the CEO of Females in Finance, and we are a community that supports women who work in financial services as well as the men who champion feminine diverse talent. And I'm excited that all of you have taken a little bit of sliver of time to talk about how to look good on LinkedIn. And I'm actually going to walk you through some secrets, some profile things you don't know. I'm also going to talk about a few little engagement secrets that you guys don't know as well, probably, and talk to you about social selling index. I had questions already about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. The list just goes on and on. And a couple of things, though, for those of you who think that LinkedIn is oh, it's just a resume site, or it's just this. Yeah, it was once upon a time ago, but those days are so long gone, so long gone. And instead, what it is, we are looking at a platform that has more than 500 million monthly users per month. I mean, think about that for a second. It's, I think the number was 722 million monthly users or something. Whenever I went back and looked at the number, it was crazy. And so if you think that the people that you're trying to attract aren't on here, I would challenge that. And I'm going to give you some secrets as to why. I'm also going to talk to you about some secrets that I've learned from LinkedIn and Google. I do spend time there on why we need to construct our LinkedIn profiles in certain ways and how it needs to say certain things. Because what I want you to do is all of you to be your very best self out there. So use the chat feature. I'm going to try really hard to watch that while I'm talking. I'm a pretty good multitasker. Mr. Hickerson's on here and he'll tell you that's true. He hates it. And I will be saving the chat. So for those of you who are interested, if there's some notes and things and some places, if you don't know how to save chat in Zoom, if you open up the chat box, there's three little dots at the bottom next to kind of where it says type a message here. If you click that, it'll say save chat. And at the end of this, it'll actually download the entire chat for you here. So this is something just to keep in mind if you're ever on another chat and there's lots of good, juicy things going on in Zoom, just hit save chat. It'll help you out. Okay. So the other thing I wanted to also talk to you about was not only LinkedIn's interesting. So once upon a time, it was kind of a resume site. You just kind of filled it in and published it, and we're good to go, and off you go. That's changed. And really, with the Microsoft acquisition in 2016, what you thought was going to happen was it was going to be so much more than it was. And it is. Aesthetically, you saw some improvements come. I'm going to say right now, I wish they would have done more with LinkedIn groups. They keep saying that's coming, though, this year and next year. I've been watching on the rollout. But what I found was really interesting was some people, and you know who they are, some people do really well at LinkedIn, right? Like they get the engagement and they get the people following them and they're doing all this stuff. And then there's others that it's like, nah, it's nah. So one of the things I want to challenge every person watching today is that from what I tell you today, when you know better, you do better. So what I would like you to be able to do is when we hang up from this, however you hang up, click off, stop. I want you to write down at least three things, three action items of something you're going to do. And keep that promise to yourself, not to me, although I do have LinkedIn profiles over here to kind of go back and take a peek. And anybody who's here who is friends with me knows me. I do have a tendency to go back and check to make sure you actually did it, because if you're going to spend the time here, get something out of it. Otherwise, just go ahead and click off now if you're not going to do anything with it, because you'll be just wasting your time. And I'm not about wasting your time. So I'm going to actually share my profile and we're going to kind of get started from there. And I do everything live. That's one else, so you probably see my messages will pop up from here. No big deal. I do everything live. Why? Because nobody wants to watch another PowerPoint. If you do want to actually watch another PowerPoint, you're a special person. I'm a little PowerPointed out. Okay. So I'd rather just show you live and you can see some of the things that are actually happening in real time for me and happen to you as well. So I see the chat filling up and this is great. And I'm so excited. Okay. So the first thing is LinkedIn. There is a very special relationship between LinkedIn and Google. I don't know if you guys know this. They're literally across the street from each other in Mountain View, California. So when I go, you'll see the little Google bikes and they're in front of the LinkedIn, and the LinkedIn bikes are in front of Google, and they like each other. They talk a lot, like a lot. And then there's that Facebook person down the road. really far down the road. You don't see LinkedIn bikes in front of Facebook, and you don't see Facebook, in front of Google. So they have competing platforms, and that's the reason why. And I want to explain to you how this happens. So, how many of you remember? I was going to bring it in here, but maybe Daryl can go find it. How many of you remember Chewbacca mom who went to Kohl's and she was sitting in the parking lot and she put the Chewbacca mask on and was laughing and all of this thing. And then what happened was she didn't realize she became a micro influencer at that point, and Amazon got flooded to go buy these masks, sold out of the masks. We're all laughing and watching this on Facebook. It was the first most watched Facebook live video ever. Like, she cracked the code to just being her natural self. Except one thing. When you went to Google to find her with that, yeah, you didn't go to a Facebook to watch that. You went to YouTube to watch it. And the reason for that is because YouTube is owned by Google. They want you to go to their products. So there's a competing platform between Facebook Live and Google owning YouTube. And because of that, they're not going to send you to places that aren't their platforms. LinkedIn said, yeah, I see that. I don't want to be a part of that. How do we work together? And so they went over and they do a lot of work. So today, from a local search perspective, you want to be on LinkedIn. So I am always about what's in it for you. Anybody who's been on any class with me previously knows I'm telling you what's in it for you first, because otherwise there's no buy-in to doing anything I'm about to ask you to do to improve your profiles. What's in it for you is the free. I love free. I tell everybody it's my third favorite F word behind females in finance, but it is scalable because it's free. And you're going to get this local, juicy, search engine optimized push to get you right where the people in your local community are. So be on LinkedIn, if for anything, just because you're going to get that natural, findable indexing that happens with Google. Okay. But once you're on LinkedIn, then it's like, okay, I'm here, Sheryl. Now what? Right? What are we going to do? Well, I'm going to walk you through some secrets of some stuff. I am also going to show you. I can't make this is the stuff that happens. See, this was the mask. I still laugh. This was the mask that we were talking about. Thank you. Thank you, Chewy. So this is, I had no idea I was going to do that. You can tell I was totally caught off guard. But one of the things that I do believe in this thing with LinkedIn is what's in it from what do I do now? You want to be the very best of where you can be. And I'm going to give you all the secrets to how to get there. So one of the things you can go and you can actually Google this, but I'll try to cut and paste it into the chat while we're talking, is figuring out what your social selling index is. Are you all familiar with what an SSI is? If you're not, you should sort of familiarize yourself. I'm going to talk about it quickly here, but then we're going to move on. And here's, let me make sure I put this in the chat so you guys have this little link. You can go out and figure out where you're at in relationship to competitors. Competitors, I'm air quoting because it's doing its very best job to figure out who are my competitors. Okay. So a good example on this call, I know Keena Pettijohn very well. We're friends, or Joy Laverty and Renee Norris is on Ian Freeman. They would be considered, quote unquote, my competitors because we all fall within this financial services realm. In essence, honestly, though, none of us are competitors, just so you know. So there is some finessing that needs to happen. However, having said that, you can go out here and get your score for free. And when you click that, what you want that number to say is 1. You want to be in the top 1% when you can. And the average person on a current social selling index, my number is 80. This is usually for the average person somewhere between 23 to 27 out of the 100 different parts of the components of how the score is made up. And it's telling you right there where you do well and where you could improve, that you've established a professional brand, or you're finding your right people, or you're engaging, you're building relationships. So you can come down here and it's going to show you, here it is right here. Sales professionals in the financial services industry have an average SSI of 25. right there between 23 and 27, as I mentioned. So it's really important. Now, here's what's really key. The people in my network have an average SSI of 46. Ooh, that's a little higher than the average, right? And that's because many of them do some very secret things that I'm going to share with you here today that you can be doing too to make certain that you're getting into this top echelon of LinkedIn. When you get into this, then that's when you start getting a little bit different stuff starts happening to your LinkedIn stuff. And I want to walk you through what that looks like. So, on here, the very first thing is understanding what are the components of a LinkedIn profile. It's really four main ones. So anything that's in this first main box here, this is going to be sort of like your professional headline, if you will. This is how you are introducing yourself to the world and how does it look? And we're going to talk about all the little things in here you could be doing. The next one is your about, or if you're in Canada, your about section. And what that does is it tells us why you do what you do. All right. I want that's very important. Your about is why you do what you do. I see very often people making a really big mistake in the space of going right into this is what I do. Hold on. Will you date me before you try to marry me? I want to learn why you're about. What does this look like? Then you scroll down this experience section. Now you get to tell me what you're doing. This is where you tell everybody your what. And then the very last part of it is kind of the odds and ends of the how you got here story, right? Your education, your licenses, your volunteer work. I see a lot of people making a lot of mistakes and adding volunteer stuff up into their experience. No, 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 no. We're going to fix that. Don't worry. And then all the other stuff, recommendations. If you can do that, a lot of people have some compliance wrappers, whether they're in law or they're in finance or in the medical practice, that they can't do certain things. And I get that. But overgeneralizing your four main areas is that welcome, that about, that experience, and then everything else. Okay. So if you have to work on anything, you're also going to work on them in what order? In that order, your professional welcome, then your about, then your experience, and then everything else. Okay, so if you only have to put things in a timing sequence. So the first thing is that in this professional headline, you got a lot going on here. One of which is the thing that is most important to Google. Remember, Google and LinkedIn are friends. They have to be able to find you. Okay. So that means that if for ladies, gentlemen, if you have changed your name at any point, I used to be Brown. A lot of people in financial services knew me as Sheryl Brown because I was Sheryl Brown for 46 years. And then I met Mr. Hickerson and I loved him so much that I changed my name for only for him. The only person I ever changed my name for in my life. And so I still leave Brown on here because a lot of people still search for me as Sheryl Brown. To this very day, in fact, people still will address things to me here at the house as Sheryl Brown, even though we've been together 4 years. So it is just something that I also want to tell you, if you have a name that has a nickname. So for every William out there, for every Christina, for every whatever, if you're shortening your name from Christina to Chris or to Tina or Christy, could you please, it's called, it's like a social etiquette, an olive branch, and put what name you like to be called on here. It's super helpful. This is because what I also hear, and I see everybody talk about on Twitter, because that's where they all tell on you guys, just so you know. So for everybody who messes up, they all just go to Twitter and go, can you believe so-and-so did this on LinkedIn today? So what they're doing is they're saying, do you know nobody ever says my name correctly? And it's like, well, you also didn't tell anybody what your name was either. Okay. So there is a responsibility to both sides of this. And we're trying to create social etiquette between that. One of the things that I know that when we meet in person, we do is we ask people a lot of times, like, if I don't know how to say someone's name, I'll say, can you say that so I can say it correctly? So I have one of my daughters, her name is very Middle Eastern, and her name is Farinaz, and it means little magic. And Farinaz, when people come up, she loves when people say, can you say that for me? And she tells them. And then if she likes you, then she'll say, you can call me Farah, which I think is really funny. So you can call me Farah. And that makes it a little bit easier. But that is Farina's goes by Farina's for quite a bit of her stuff in her world, and she likes to be called that. That's actually her preference. So make certain. The other thing for every person who has a designation out there, so every one of you MBA, PhD, MD, CFP, CHF, CRICPL, all of them, put your designations on in this name field. And the reason why is because LinkedIn found that it doesn't even matter what your designations are. People just don't even know what they are. But man, it makes it look like, well, they've done something that's continued their education on, even if it has nothing to do with your field, right? So don't lie about them, because that is searchable too. So I have seen people put, I'm a CFP, and then I go to the CFP, I'm like, nah, you're not. What are you doing? Don't do that. So don't be a liar. Okay. So what you want to do is make sure you add that, because when you come into someone's field, and like I have one, I purposely left it off of this because I wanted to edit while you guys were here. So what we're going to do is I'll go in and we'll actually edit this. And I have what's called my Fleming, my FLMI. So that's my fellow Life Management Institute. If you work in insurance, it's a big deal, or what used to be. Not so much anymore, probably, but it was one time. 10 classes to get that thing. So, hey, I'm putting it on there. Okay. So you hit save. Then what happens is this populates and comes back up. You are still very searchable by your name. But when people click on your profile, it really does help people go, huh, she's done something else, a little extra. The little extra is nice. The other part of this is what's called your actual professional headline. And this is another place that Google is searching feverishly to find you, is the space underneath your name. You definitely want to use words that your audience knows you by. Now, this is an exercise that I give my marketing clients to do, and I press upon you to try this out. But don't mess it up, because you'll want to taint it. So what that means is, what I would like you to do is create um, you can do it through an email, or you could do a poll or whatever, but go out and ask people one question only. And this is it. If you went to Google today to find someone like me, what words would you use? Because remember, Google, that's it. You can be using Yahoo to search. You can be using Bing. It doesn't matter. Safari. Google is where it's at. If you went to Google today to find someone like me, what words would you use? Now, it can't sound like this. If you went to Google today to find someone in financial services, like, no, stop, because you already tainted it, because you told people what you do. If you went to Google today to find someone like me, what words would you use? And what I found out, and there's two good things about this exercise. One, your words are exactly the words you want them to know you by. Two, none of the words they came back with are the words they should know you by, but you can change it. Okay. So in my particular instance, when I did this exercise with my clients, I came back. People definitely know me by females in finance. I own a company called that. It's actually what I do most of my day, with talking with women who work in financial services, but I'm also a speaker. I'm a financial service marketer, community building strategy. These are the words. Now, if you notice in that headline, nowhere on there do I put my title, like a regional vice president, CE. I don't put any of that. That nobody cares. Not what they're looking for. They also actually don't even care too much about your company name. Hmm. That's really kind of sometimes hard for people to swallow, because they're like, I put a lot of money into this year. I want to get known by this. Yeah, you can change your words. Remember, I said that. But if those words are not coming back, then they shouldn't be in there. So I see a lot of people that'll put down there, like, I work in the world of financial services a lot of times, where they'll say something like, um, well, I had one guy who put a risk mitigator. He was in Manhattan, and I'm like, "You're no risk mitigator. You're still insurance. Stop it." Okay. So they're not words people are using. So I see a lot of times, like, regional vice president of this, principal of that. Instead, tell people the words they want to find you by. So I'm going to pick on Joy, because I know Joy really, really well. And Joy is an author. She's a speaker. She is probably the expert on aging in America today, outside of ones maybe like Ai Poo or something like that. She has been on national TV. She's been featured in I don't know how many articles. I couldn't even name all, neither could she. Okay. Wrote 2 books. Both are amazing. They're on my bookshelf right there. She knows they're never far because I showed them to people. Joy and I talk maybe 3 times a year? Would you say 3 times a year,
Yeah,
Joy?
yeah.
Okay. Did I describe you?
You did.
Those are the words that should be on her profile. I don't know what's on her profile because I'm going to go look later. But that's where you need to be using the words that if somebody asked me, if you came to me, I'd say, you're an author, you're a speaker, you're a specialist in aging in America. You know long-term care like nobody's business on the real side of it, not the money side financial planners. She's talking about what happens in the nursing homes and in the rehab centers. Joy's your person. And that's what I would describe her as. But she's also my friend. You could put that too if you'd like. But
Okay.
yeah. So, but you get an idea. And, and I'm picking on people that I see their names and I know them well because I can tell you what their words are. That exercise works no matter what profession you are in. I assure you it does. And then once you get those words, you use them. Use all the character spaces in this space because this is helping Google narrow you down and be found. If you're not using the spaces of the places where Google can find you, they can't match you up for the people searching for you or searching for people like you. So that's really, really important. And I didn't make any of this up. This came straight from Google and LinkedIn. You're happy to go out there, make an appointment yourself and go sit with them and learn. I'm just sharing the love and passing it on. The other thing too, that I will add as an aside in your contact information, I am amazed at how many people do not have any way to be contacted. That LinkedIn doesn't work. Your email's not visible. Your website's not visible. Your phone number's not visible. Nothing's visible. But LinkedIn doesn't work. I think I'm going to push back on that. So if you don't have at minimum your website for your business, some contact phone number, I don't care what it is. And yes, that is my real mobile number. If you called me right now or texted me right now, it would show up on this phone right here. I don't hide. It could put it on the side of a billboard and I wouldn't care. I have an address. This is a real address. You can send me stuff. Email, all of this is here for people to see. And guess what? I get appointments every day. I average 35 to 50 appointments a week. I'm very accessible. You have to be accessible. And if you're on this site to not be accessible, why are you on the site? Just do your website and just call it a wrap on that. Okay. So just be very, very cognizant of what you're, doing as far with that in regard. Okay. Make sure you're filling it out. So that was the first part. So we talked about our professional headline. And you know what? You can go easily to Canva, create a LinkedIn backdrop. It's free. Remember our third favorite F word, behind females in finance. So what you want to do is just type in free LinkedIn profile header. Canva's going to pop right up in Google. Click it and then start working with it. And let's talk about pictures. I literally took this picture. Oh, I guess we went to dinner. I don't even know what it was, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. And you know what? I get on some people's profiles and I promise you that that's their picture from high school. And these people are, and I'm 50 just for references. Okay. Uh, update the picture. Update the picture. I do have a tendency to color my hair a lot. So I tell people if I update my picture a lot, it's because sometimes I'm blonde and sometimes I'm not. And so I do update the picture whenever I change the color of my hair. So that's the first one. I'm going to check over on chat real quick to see what we have on here. Let's see. You Here we go. Do you have Navigator? Oh, I do have Sales Navigator about the social index, but you can do your social selling index. I think you can still get one free one. So I put the link in the group here to be able to do that. So you can go click it. And so one question only, and we answered it. Good job. Okay, so the next one we're going to talk is our about section. I love Canadians. I love their language. So one of the things I'm also seeing in here is people not using this to their. So take all your what out of this. I don't want the what. Why? I enjoy working with advisors, planners, reps, managers, others in the professional. Meeting new advisors, learning about how we can work together to grow business is my goal. I provide training, consulting, coaching, and social media digital marketing to financial services community. I've done that for a long time. And so I'm telling people, right off of the bat, this, and also tell people who you look for. So I tell people right here, connect with me if you're a FinServ professional and want to effectively take your business to the next level. You're a financial advisor, life insurance agent looking to build your book of business. You're a financial service professional, organization looking for training and assistance. I'm telling people, if this is you, I'm your person. Match made. Let's talk. Let's go. It makes it really easy when you're telling people, I want you to connect with me if you meet these things. I think it's also really interesting when I get on Twitter, because remember, Twitter's the tattletale of all other social media platforms, just so you guys know. If you screw up on TikTok, you screw up on LinkedIn, Facebook, Clubhouse, whatever, they go to Twitter and just tell on you, just so you know. And we know Keen and I run in some similar circles on Twitter. It's the tattletale. It is. Would you agree?
Oh, yes,
Oh yeah, it's
absolutely.
tattletale city. Oh, big time. So,
Yes.
what I find is really interesting. So, when you talk about the about section on here, friends, is that if people are going to go tattle on you because I tried to connect with them and they said I wasn't their person, did you tell people who was your person? Tell them right here straight away how to do that. Okay. And here we go. This is the one thing that I found out from Google. If you have a common misspelling in your name, put it. So I have people who address things to me as Sharon Brown, Sheryl with a C. I get that one a lot. Shelby Sheila. I get Dickerson, Nickerson. That's another one I get. I also put in here Brown so people can find that. You know what? When you do that, it makes it so easy because Google's like, oh, I got you. You're the person they're looking for. Hold on. Let me send them your way. If you don't do that, so I have friends like if your name is Layla and you spell it Leila, and a lot of people spell it Layla, and the list goes on. How about all you Lees, Leeleighh, Lea, whatever it is? Put them down in here so that you give Google a break in helping to find you. So, like, for example, if I went through and started looking through some of the names on here, there might be some names on here that definitely my husband Daryl, for example, is a good one because he gets a lot of things addressed to Daryl. He does have been to say, and you have to be old enough to know. It's my other brother Daryl, he says. So, um, but it's one of those things where you want to put your common misspellings in here. Help Google help you to be found. So this about section, remember, so we talked about the professional headline space. This is our welcome. Fill that out so Google can find you. Your about section, you want to tell people who to connect with you and any common misspellings you have. Tell your why in your about. And now we're going to get down and into your experience. What happens in the experiencing, this is when you tell people what you do. Okay. And the what needs to be pretty clear. I also want to back up one thing really quick because you're going to see this again in a couple of spaces and I want to address it. We have skimmers and we have readers. What that means is you need to break up your content into paragraphs and bullet points because you got the people that literally have that goldfish attention span and they're like, what's the bottom line of this? I'm that person, just so you know. It's me. That's me. My kids will come to me and be like, well, this thing. And my kids are all grown. I'm like, stop. What do you need? And my daughter Jen will be like, I need $25 for, I'm like, there you go. Just, I want the bottom line. I want the bullet point. Daryl is the reader. Tell me the story. I want to hear what happened. So definitely when you do your construct on these, make certain that you're making room for your readers and your skimmers. Okay. So going back down to our experience section here, you're going to see this again, where you're talking about where I put bullet points. So I tell you, if you are a woman working in FinServ, a financial, I tell you again, these are the people I like to connect with. This is my jam. You're my people. Keena's my people. Joy's my people. Renee's my people, and so on, because I speak directly to them on the work they're doing. A woman who directly works with financial service or financial technology wants to be a part of a growing community. That's Joy. That's Keena. That's what they do. Exactly what they do. If you're working FinServ and want to help grow a profession, that's Renee. 100% right there. So I'm very clear on what it is, but I do tell people what it is that I'm doing in this space. And so you need to be doing the same thing too. Okay. And if you have multiple positions, which I do, many of us wear multiple hats today. I'm also a brokerage manager at Penny Insurance. So I am on the dark side of insurance. I love it. I know. I actually have a shirt that says I love insurance. I feel like I'm defending that every day on Twitter too. They all hate me. Not me, the profession. It's okay though. Um, but I tell people what it is I do here. I'm also CMO of my husband's company, and I help with. I'm chief marketing officer for him. I also host a podcast. These are all of the things that I do. This is my role. These are my hats, and many of us has multiple hats today. Now, if you're on the board of something that does not belong in your experience, that's a volunteer or a paid space someplace else. There's a place for that, and we'll show you. That should not be here. It'll clutter everything. It makes it really because like what you'll see somebody who's like the CEO of a capital management group, and then you'll see that they're on the board of an organic grocery store. And you're like, that's so disconnected. I don't understand. And you know what happens when people feel disconnected? They distrust. And that's just a part of it. And I will tell you right now, too, if anybody who works with women, if we go back to the picture thing for a hot second here, all of your pictures should have your eyes in the picture. And the reason for that is the next time you go down the grocery store and you see that article and it says, what she loves about you are your eyes. That's actually so not true. It has more to do, I do a lot of study in behavioral metrics of things, and it has to do with how we are as babies. We connect with people through eyes, through seeing, through touch, through our senses. And the further your picture is away, the more we don't trust you. So come up closer to the camera, mug shots. There's a reason why they're close up. They're not far away. Okay. I tell everybody it's onematch.com date gone wrong too many times. We don't trust anybody. Nobody. There's an entire show on MTV catfishing. It's real. So if you work with women up close, we want to see your face. So we talked about here in this experience thing too. If you're running your own companies, there's a lot of us who are one-stop shops. So we might be the principal of our company, the president, the CEO, but then we also own our own firm. That's me. Please make certain that you actually create a LinkedIn company profile so that you don't just have some grayed out little building that looks like from the Monopoly game. You want to actually have like real, so it looks real. What you're doing is you're presenting your very best self in this one chance, one shot, one opportunity, very slim shady. I realize you want to be certain that you're telling that story right up front because you know what? Once they're gone, they're on Amazon buying bacon and socks. They're gone. You're not getting them back. They're not hitting the back button. No, no, no. Nobody's doing that. So fill it all out. Make certain that it's all complete. Again, supporting your readers and your skimmers. So breaking it up with some bullet points. Be very clear again who you're looking for. Those are the people what you're doing, who you're looking for. And I also encourage you to use dynamic content. So if you have a headshot, a bio, if you're a speaker, and Joy may have done this. I haven't looked at her LinkedIn, so I don't know, but I'm just going to pick on her. If any of you, I know Keena's a speaker, Joy's a speaker, Renee's a speaker, Ian's a speaker. If you do not have your professional headshot and your bio on here, oh, stop. That's all a lot of times the speakers, the event coordinators want to do. They want to go here, download, and be out and done. And when you do that, please name them. Your name and headshot, your name and bio. Because for all of you that have a headshot 2017 right side, that doesn't mean anything to the person downloading it. Put your name on it and put your headshot, same with your bio, and then make certain they're on there so that it saves people time. It's one less email. You don't want more email. I know you don't because you're complaining about it on Twitter. Okay. So now we talked about our headline space that helps Google. Our about section helps Google. Your experience helps Google. Okay. So the last part of this, honestly, is going to be some of the fluff of things, where you went to school, in your licenses and certifications. But I want to talk specifically about this volunteer experience. If you're on the board of something, you're on the council of something, you're on a committee of something, paid or not paid, this is the place where you drop that information. All right. So, like, I'm a council member for NAFA on their DEI council. We used to be a committee and we grew up and we became a council now. And so, this is where I spend the next year of my life going out and talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion because it's something I believe and live in my own life. I also want to tell you, too, how to read volunteer experiences for how when you talk to people. So, if you came onto my profile, and it said here that I'm going to list all of these out and see if you guys can figure it out in the comments. So I'm a current supporter, volunteer for Donors Choose. I have been for 9 years making either purchases and or actually donating money to support children in school, especially low income schools where they can't. Teachers are having it rough. Last year was really rough. I'm a current supporter volunteer, St. Jude's Recovery, and I've done that for almost 30 years. I have donated money for children who have cancer, and I do it in honor of my mom. My mom died when I was 6, and I do it every single year. And I talk about that in here. I have been a past program volunteer for Girl Scouts of Eastern Missouri, where I was on a board there to help with some of the kids' different types of activities. I was a freelance writer for Autism Speaks. So again, kids that are, in need of, especially parents that are in need of some more support. I was a past Girl Scout troop leader for Girl Scouts. I did that all the years for my girls. What do you think? Put in the chat or come off of mute if you want. What do you think is really important to me between Girl Scouts, Autism Speaks, Girl Scouts, St. Jude's, Donors Choose? Tell me something you think about that. We're interactive here. So I'm going to look for either some chats.
Children's well-being.
That is 1,000% right. And I don't know if I can say this without getting teary-eyed. When you get to know me, had you read that correctly, I also have 2 children I fostered and adopted. I believe children are our most vulnerable citizens in the United States. And I have 2 children that people literally just threw away. And I went and became an emergency foster parent for them. And they stayed. And they're great kids. So see, I can feel the tear coming. I just love my kids so much. So, kids mean a lot to me. And if you can learn how to read when you go into someone, the chances are likely that if you came here and you started talking to me, probably every single one of you at some point, I would say, do you work with kids? Do you have children? And because it's something that's near and dear to me. So you're reading something into this too. And this happens in your own stuff. So that going back to that person who's on the board of the organic grocery store, how much you think is likely that person believes in sustainable protein sources or packaging of materials and low income, low waste product on our planet. And I'm already creating a commonality with that person right from the get-go and creating trust because I'm learning how to read through this information. And people will be able to dynamically do the same thing with yours. But paid and unpaid board memberships and such come in this space, not with your experience. Believe it or not, that kind of stuff, when I see it up above, Google had said that it doesn't help you from a findability perspective at all. So you might as well just move it down and keep all your rich experience content at the top of where it needs to be consumed to make it easy to scrub whenever they come out to look for you for indexing. Okay. And then, of course, there's all kinds of other stuff on here. I got some really people who said some nice things about me, and I don't know, a bunch of speaking. I speak so much I gave up even trying to put those things on there in publications. I've been featured in like, I don't know, 8 or 9 books now in marketing. And I put all of that stuff in here. And so this kind of gives you a good start to build a really rich LinkedIn profile and actually look good on it. And it's like, okay, so when I come in and I see somebody that's interacting like this in this way, that tells me from a behavior standpoint, they take their career pretty serious. When I come in and nothing's filled out or they haven't done this, you get to take care of my stuff like that too. Or is you didn't put enough time or effort into it? Do you not believe in yourself and not enough? I'm just giving you some ideas of the things that I have heard back from not only LinkedIn and Facebook and Google and others. When those sections are all incomplete, they want to know, why would you not put enough time into your own stuff? So how much time are you going to put into mine if you won't even put it into yours? And that's, ooh, it's kind of like raw and real, right? So let me see if there's any questions in here too, because I'm trying really hard to watch the chats on here. And here we go. Let's see if you have any questions. And does your advice differ for those who are looking for new employer compared to those who are promoting business? Great question. Yes. So one of the things that you would want to do is you would dynamically want to say on here, I'm looking to work with you, and do not back down for a second on telling everybody how wonderful you are. Don't you sell yourself short for a hot second. A really great app for doing that. And this is what I would suggest that you do, Heather. So I would pull up my LinkedIn profile. I would use an app called Loom. So Loom, Loom app. And what you want to do is you can download it straight away for Chrome, and you're going to click it, and you're going to create a video. And if for every person that says, I don't look good on video, stop. You've clearly never scrolled through TikTok. There's a lot of people who don't look good on video and they're out there doing it. You can do it too. But go in there and tell people what you're looking for. Sell what it is that you're trying to connect the dots. I'm going to give you a really good example of this real time of something that happened. When the TD Ameritrade Schwab thing all kind of happened, there was one woman in particular, Erin Muller, who she created like this video. She had this website. Somebody said, hey, you should meet this girl. She's really, really talented. And I'm like, I got lots of phone calls like, can you get this person a job? Can you help them out? And anybody who knows me, I was doing everything I could. I invited her to a meetup, one of our networking meetings. And I specifically reached out to several people who I knew were looking for people and said, you might want to come to this meetup. They came. Penny Phillips from Journey hired Erin. And it had everything to do with her profile was great. She got to hear her speak beforehand because she had a video, and then got to meet her at a meetup. So use that video capability and you put that squarely on as dynamic content right here in this about section. You can add dynamic content right away from here. You can also, there is a special template filling for LinkedIn that says hire, if you're hiring, great. Or if you're looking for work, put that on there. This backdrop should be, I'm looking to work with you. I mean, something that says right off the bat, when I come on here, this person needs a job. This person's looking to get hired, this person. And this is for any person out there, because no matter what your background is in the profession, if I don't know immediately what that call to action is of what you want, then I can't really help you. And I think it's really, really important that you tell people, honest, this is what I want. I've had the good fortune. I've only one time ever in my life applied for a job. And it was the first job I ever got. And I 100%, I'm sorry, Mass Mutual, that I lied to you, but I did. And they know it. They still love me. I went into a Kinko's in Berkeley, California. It's a true story. How many of you ever watched, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead? I totally watched that movie, and I did everything that girl did. I went into a Kinko's and I filled out a resume that was like straight out of the book, except I put my name on it and I sent it and I faxed it, but it was the wrong place. And Mass Mutual called and said, we think you're looking for something else, but we're hiring. You want to come in? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I go in there and they hired me, and I've worked in financial services for 30 plus years now. They took a chance on me, but I went in there and I knew I was a great employee. And if you believe in yourself that much, put that into a video, put that on your LinkedIn. And then what your only job is, if you're looking, is to go out every day on LinkedIn and say, look at all this wonderful, we're ready to put me someplace. Yeah. Can you guys go out there and help me find that special, person, that magic, and sell that? Because if you don't believe in yourself enough to do it, nobody else will. So I hope that helps answer that question. Let's see here. How do we find the middle ground between broadcasting to our current employer LinkedIn connections that we are looking to leave and marketing ourselves on LinkedIn? Woo. Okay. So I'm glad this question got asked. Okay. So I'm going to tell a little secret. Some of us, they'll remain nameless if they're on this call, are involved in some secret engagement pods that happen on LinkedIn behind the scenes. And what that means is we all get together and say, hey, you're great. I think what I do is great and they're great. And we're all going to get together and we're going to talk about each other's stuff to make certain that our engagement improves. And some of you might be going, what? You do what? Yeah. Yeah. Because we got to beat the algorithm. So algorithmically, the way it's set up, it's, you can post your stuff and who's going to see it, right? If you don't have a tribe of people around you to make that happen, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to supersede the algorithm. Carla Harris says in her book, you should have a sponsor in every room. Well, we all found our sponsors and we're like, I'm going to talk about you. You're going to talk about me. We're going to be, and that's how you sort of supersede the algorithm. So in your case, what you do is if you're out there actively looking, first, you want to be in circles of people in the groups that you want to be around, that you want to be a part of, to grow, to move into that next space. And then you say, you know what, let's start this engagement pod. Let's do this kind of work together. And I'm going to comment on your stuff. The more often you're commenting in the fields of the work that you want to work in, what do you think they're going to do? They're like, you seen that lady over there? She's always doing something. I want to talk to her. And that's exactly, I've been very strategic in how I use this. And that's why I'm sharing all of it. I mean, the secret I'm using isn't like, oh, proprietarily mine. No, I just happen to like to share it so other people can do great jobs getting the word out about who they are and what they're doing. And so if you're trying to be secretive in looking for work, well, then you just get involved in some groups of people that are a little bit outside of what you're doing right now. Start making some meeting times with those people. And I'm telling you, naturally, what ends up happening is I want to have that person in my sphere. The problem that I have today, quite honestly, and I promise I'm saying this in the most humble way that I can, I have more job offers right now than I've ever had in my life that I have to turn down because I'm turning up in spheres of people who are like, that gal's got it together. Let's get her, you know, and don't think that I hope Ryan Penny's watching this. He knows. I love working with Ryan. We work together very closely, but I'm like, got another job offer. You better keep me employed. He laughs. He's like, okay, but we're friends. We've known each other almost 2 decades. So it's all good. And so let's see here. I think we're getting towards the end of it. I love the questions. They've been really helpful. I'm kind of going through real quick, trying to see if I have any questions on here. Any other things on, Sales Navigator. So somebody asked me, I think it was Stacy Swanson asked me about Sales Navigator and do I use it and how does it work and yada, yada. Yes, I am a Sales Navigator. So LinkedIn has about 3 main tiers. So you've got your free scalable. And you can do quite a bit with free. I'm going to be honest with you. The only thing I'm going to tell you right now, you can only search for so long in free LinkedIn. And then they go, hey, slow it down, sister. And then they put the little kibosh on you for a bit. To supersede that, all you got to do is go to Google, type in what you're looking for, and then hit LinkedIn after, and then it'll pop up. So that's the way you get around that. Not that they probably want me to tell you that, but John O'Connell's right. You need to continually build your network as well. He's right. That's a very good point as well. I want to make sure I say that. But LinkedIn Sales Navigator, so we had free. The second one is a business. Business, what it allows me to do is it does allow me to go out and search for people as often as I want. It allows me to, you can create some lists, but it's not the same kind of a thing. And I want to talk to you about privacy really quick because people think because I'm on paid LinkedIn that somehow I'm superseding privacy. That's not true. So whatever your privacy is set up, it underneath your little me column here, if I don't want to be found, you're not finding me. And I don't care if you're on paid LinkedIn or not. They're very protective between, I would say, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of them have some pretty stringent privacy parameters that they will not break for anyone. So do keep that in mind. I can't go and supersede that. But one of the things I do like about Sales Navigator, and this is what it looks like to be inside of Sales Navigator, a little different. I can message a little differently. I can create lists a little differently, account lists and things. And what this allows me to do is kind of look in the why behind the why to kind of go deep a little bit, if you will, on some of the stuff. So when I message, my messages within LinkedIn Sales Navigator are not going to show up in my normal LinkedIn. I have to come back and into the messaging feature here to be able to continue those dialogues. And it does allow you to do a lot of like document sharing, creating some other stuff. The listing though, where you're able to go in and actually scrub out that list. I can look with a fine tooth comb kind of a thing through a haystack for exactly that person I'm looking for on something. That is valuable. So for what I do for a living, and people ask me, how do you do so much, or how are you so swift? And it has to do with the fact that it's because I'm able to go in, use all the filters, and sort of scrape away all the stuff that just isn't meaningful to what I need to do. So for that reason, I do like Sales Navigator. Free. The business class is about, I think it's 69 a month. And then there's Sales Navigator, which is about, I think it's about $80, $90 a month. And so there's a cost to it, but then I just consider it's part of doing business cost. And that's just what I do. For many people, free LinkedIn's going to be more than enough. It truly is, especially like I said, if you just stay out of getting yourself in trouble on free LinkedIn, where the searching, go to Google, type in what you're looking for, and then hit LinkedIn. And then it's going to go and just give you that list right there on Google if you're willing to do that. No problem. But if you really want to get into and take your business to a little bit more of an extreme level like I do, then Sales Navigator for that is definitely the way to go. Let's see if I have other questions. I love when I get questions. I learn too through your questions. Um, that's I think about it that I had here today. I wanted to be respectful of your time. I used almost a full hour. Oh, great question, Heather. Best to describe yourself in first person or third person. So I'm going to answer it with a question. Would any of you ever go into a party and be like this? Did you know that Sheryl's the CEO of Females in Finance? And I'm Sheryl, right? Did you know that Sheryl is really good at talking about marketing and things? Sheryl does this great. You would never do that at a party. So this is your time to shine. I am the CEO of Females in Finance, and I enjoy speaking at events, and I am pretty good at marketing. Got a bunch of awards back that say I did a pretty good job. So you always want to use that first person versus a third person on that. And let's see here. I think this is great. Any other questions as we wrap? Was this valuable? Put comments if you thought it was worth your time today. I'd love, and any other sessions of things that you would like to learn, because I'd love to be able to bring you more learning and opportunities and like this, because this is the stuff that is super warms my heart and fills my bucket at the end of the day. So, oh, great. I love this so much. And hi, Ian Freeman. You came on just as I had said. I literally had just said your name and you popped on, and the hair on my arm stood up. I was like, oh my gosh. If you switch career, should you keep the designation behind your name? Yes, because nobody knows what those really mean anyway. 90% of the people don't. I hate to tell you that they don't. So like, if you get a master's, you got a whatever, and then you got something else like FLMI, who's going to know what that means? Nobody, probably, unless you work in insurance. Outside of that, they're like, well, at least you took it to the next level, whatever that might be. So I definitely think you should keep that in there. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. And I appreciate the comment about energy. I really do try hard to bring you lots of value and just good juju and stuff whenever I meet with people. It's important to me. I prep for these things, and I always want to give you a little bit more than what maybe you would have come for and not waste your time. I'm a big don't waste timer kind of person. I think I just made that word up. With that, we're right at just about the time. You give you a couple minutes back. If you need to reach me, feel free to. You can connect with me here on LinkedIn. You can send me an email at Sheryl@femalesandfinance.com. And you can pretty much find me anywhere on any social media platform at Bionic Socialite. I would love to say Sheryl Hickerson, but some woman has that and she doesn't even use those accounts. So it's frustrating. But with that, I want to bid you all well. I hope you're staying healthy, and anything I can do to help you out, just let me know. So take care, everybody, today. Don't forget, you can save this chat if you want. Just go down to the bottom of the chat and the three dots and hit save chat, and it will give you a feed. It'll give you a little link to it to watch it back. So, all right, friends, take care of yourselves. Bye now.